I didn't know this, but apparently people are stealing homes. They're going in and somehow taking the deed, the ownership piece. They're putting it in their name, the bad guy's name, and voila, they own a home.
Yes.
No.
And what they do is they search county tax records, which is sad because it is a public record. They can see who the owners are. They can also see if they're a lien on the property. With that, they can then use Zillow or whatever it is to find what a possible value, to see what equity position is, so that now I can go borrow, or I don't even actually steal your house. I just use your name and your information and I steal your equity.
Okay, let's unpack that. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Here's why. I don't know your quote unquote day job. You and I met doing.
That is my day job.
I was tortured for 8 hours by you.
Now, wait a minute. I'm going to have to make you take that word back.
Yes.
I don't know about tortured.
I was going to add the fun part. It was truly the most enjoyable. For those that don't know, mortgage folks here in Texas have to take 8 hours of continuing ed. At least, non-bankers have to take 8 hours every year. And we do it. I do it in person because I couldn't imagine doing it behind the computer screen. And you not only made it fun, it was actually super, super educational. So much so that we're sitting here together today.
Thank you for having me.
I've had to do this for over 20 years. I've had to have these classes. And now one person I've ever followed up with,
wow.
You're the first. So
yay,
you did something right. So I'm going to let you do the introduction. What is your?
I am Juliana Brock. I have owned power training now for probably going on 20 years, maybe a little longer, but I have been a CE provider since 1999. I started in the mortgage business in 1982. I decided that I had knew as a true 18-year-old would say, I know it all, Mom. I'm not going to college. I just need you to buy me a car so I can get a job. And that's what we did. So
I'm independent. Now buy me a car, damn it.
Or help me buy a car, because I didn't get no car with a big red bow. I just got a car payment and insurance and a job. But and so I went to work for Holland Mortgage. And I just started learning mortgage from there. And I have loved the mortgage industry ever since that happened. And I am that person who reads federal law for you and then turns it into something fun, because we all have to cover the same topics.
I just want to be very clear. Fun-ish. Like, we can't say it's fun. Like, I want to make sure the listeners at least know that, like, it's still compliance. It's still regulations.
You still can't be on your phones. You still can't be doing that, which y'all were all so good. I was very proud of y'all.
I got out of there without a demerit. I don't know how that happened, but I literally didn't get a single, and I deserved at least 2.
Well, I'm glad you're telling on yourself. I was trying. Robin, who sat next to you, was so funny. She said, "I'm so glad that you're so good, because otherwise he would be driving me crazy." And so I said,
Preach.
I think that's a compliment, and I'm going to take it that way. But there were so many amazing things that happened in Texas this year. And I've actually seen several commercials about a different Senate bill number, and I apologize that I don't have it memorized.
It's 78318.
Is that the new one that we see on TV?
That's one I just made up.
That they just came out.
I just made up. I have no idea if that's right.
Sounds good. You said it with authority, so we're going with it.
100%.
And so, but between all of the bills that we passed, the foreign ownership ban, which is very important for our natural resources, and the deed theft ban, or the requirement for county clerks to undergo training to spot what a possible deed theft may look like.
Those were literally the 2 topics I wanted to talk about today.
Okay.
So I was going to let you take it wherever you wanted to go, since you're the guest and you came all the way up here for this, but I was going to go the 2. So let's talk the deed theft, because I think it blew my mind. So why don't you, again, I'll tell you what, I'll give here's what the dummy on this side of the microphone thinks it is. I didn't know this, but apparently people are stealing homes while somebody's living there. They're going in and somehow taking the deed, the ownership piece, they're putting it in their name, the bad guy's name, and voila, they own a home.
Yes.
No.
Yes. And what they do is they search county tax records, which is sad because it is a public record. They can see from there, they can see who the owners are. They can also see if they're a lien on the property. And because our deeds do not redact our loan amounts, there's also the possibility that they have that information. So with that, they can then use Zillow or some other form of realtor.com, whatever it is, to find what a possible value, to see what equity position is, so that now I can go borrow, either using a fake identity, the one that I created when I stole your house, or I don't even actually steal your house. I just use your name and your information and I steal your equity.
Okay, let's unpack that. Bad guy Bob finds Joe homeowner and realizes Joe homeowner through the records. He's like 123 Main Street, sees Joe owns it, and it's a $500,000 home. And whether or not, let's just pretend in this instance, he can tell that there is a $200,000 mortgage that was put on there 5 years ago. So he now knows he's got $300,000+ of equity. Bad guy Bob does what?
They then create a deed in their name, transferring the title. If there's a lien, then they won't do it.
So
Then
okay.
they will become good. Was it Joe the good person?
We're calling Joe
the good person, bad guy Bob. So Joe, they become Joe, and they create fake IDs that they can buy from Amazon that sadly are as good as our IDs that we get from the DMV. And they then go into, because everything is done online, so much can happen online.
Just shows that Amazon's so big, even bad guy Bob goes shopping at Amazon
for fake IDs.
So it gets his fake
ID.
For
fake IDs.
So bad guy
that
Bob,
they can get past the title company, so they can get past everybody who needs the ID. So then they assume and become you, and then they take out liens in your name because you still own the property if you have a first lien. Now, so then of course your second lien person, has to be subordinated, but the first lien and you as the homeowner have no idea that this is going on until you start getting notices in the mail 60 to 90 days later. So just like you see the commercials on TV, this is what they do. And sometimes they're not even, if they've discovered that the property is free and clear, then they will transfer the deed. That's when they're going to transfer the deed.
So let's push pause real quick to part one, stealing the equity. Bad guy Bob, fake ID, pretends to be Joe homeowner.
Yes.
Goes to a title company or goes to a mortgage company and says, I want to take out $200,000 of a loan, cash out. And he goes to get a brand new second mortgage on the home. So the first is, so normal Joe homeowners to paying his normal bill, living his normal life. And unbeknownst to homeowner, bad guy Bob takes out a $200,000 cash out mortgage where he pockets the $200,000. And now, like you said, months later, when Joe homeowner has not been making the second mortgage payments because he doesn't know they exist, that's when he discovers there's some fraud going on. The good news in this scenario, at least the good guy still lives in his home. Now he has to fight the battle until if he's going to get foreclosed or he can do all that. That's a whole nother piece. What you were just starting to allude to for part two is actually stealing the house. And this is what blew my mind. Because the first part to me, to some degree, feels it's a pain. Joe homeowner's got real problems. But at the end of the day, if you can prove fraud, et cetera, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, there will be at least an ending. Not a happy ending, but at least get settled.
For the loan, not necessarily for the ownership part.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. So I can, as the borrower or as the person, go back to ABC lender and say, this is not me. This was not my loan. But now the lender has the loss. They'll have to write off the loss because they will now know that loan was never legally taken out, and they'll have to forgive the lien. But when the property is stolen from me, getting that property back, and this is the mystery even to me still today, is why is it so hard? When I go to the court and I say, this is not my signature, but somebody has forged my signature, because that's what they'll do. And these guys are not even that rocket science. They don't even create sometimes a new deed. They'll just take the deed that's already there. They will get a pen and just cross out that person's name, handwrite their name, and re-record that same piece of paper. This is what we are now preventing, is that the title company, the title clerk at the county courthouse had no way to say, no, I don't think this is right. They had to, by law, do it. Well, now we have the law in place.
Okay, let's stop again. Sorry, I keep interrupting, but this is incredible.
Okay.
Okay, so now there's no mortgage. Bad guy Bob finds a house that doesn't have a mortgage at all. So it's a $500,000 free and cleared. Joe homeowner has $500,000 home, free and clear. Bad guy Bob literally takes the deed, scratches out his little like a cheating on a golf scorecard. I'm just gonna put, instead of Tiger Woods, I put Mark Pfeiffer. Like I scored that 68, and suddenly owns the home because he goes down to the county and says, here's the new deed. Please file it.
And they
And
do.
they say, thank you, sir. May I have another? And he literally just
Well, that'll cost
tomorrow,
you $12 or however much
$12,
it is.
$12.
Yeah.
By the way, if somebody,
I'm sure it's more than
if
that.
this
I'm
video
just
actually gets seen by a lot of bad guys and like fraud spikes, I'm sorry. We've done a disservice here. But the reality is this happens.
yes.
And
Every day.
hopefully every day somebody's getting their home stolen from them. And right now there's not a good course of action to go back and quote get your house.
There is now
Fill
in
me in.
Texas. So in Texas now, the owner of the home is now allowed to complete what is called an affidavit. So they will go to the county courthouse. They will tell the county clerk, my title to my home has been stolen. They will give them a form to fill out. The affidavit will be notarized, which the reality of what is a notary, what is the purpose of a notary, they're not there to determine, is the document valid, is the document legal. They are there to see, look at your driver's license that you bought on Amazon, say, oh, that looks like Mark. Oh, sorry, bad guy
Bad
Bob.
guy Bob.
And so we're going to accept this because we don't have, and so I notarize, I have no way. Well, now we prosecute notaries who knowingly do this because, guys, it is incredibly easy to become a notary. And you do have to give your social security number, you do have to attest, but that's all in Texas to become a notary. And so anyone can do it, but they have to have the document notarized. And so then they file it with the county clerk, and now you're the proud owner of Joe homeowner's house. And now you can just outright sell it. Now, don't leave behind the borrowers who have vacant land property because that's being stolen in the highest numbers, more than homes, because people with vacant land don't pay attention. They don't go out to it. And properties that are investment properties are also usually targets for this.
I had some land and I'm going to put a mortgage on it tomorrow.
Okay, see, that's what lots of people like to say, but you cannot indenture yourself into debt. So you can't do that. And that's why Robin brought up the HELOC question.
I don't
Remember?
like any of your answers.
I know. I'm just the bad answer girl. I know today, or the wrong answer girl, but I'm the right answer because these are the answers. But we just don't realize how sadly simple it is. But I have got students who have relatives that have been in court for 2 years trying to get their deed back to their house. That's why Texas has created the bills necessary to give the owner of the home a legal, unrepresented way by an attorney to go in and challenge the transfer of the deed. A county judge will look at the documents, ask questions, but they're going to have to get training too. So I'm trying to kind of figure out who's going to do this training because I want it to be
power training.
that's right. And so, how do you look at a deed and determine whether it's fake or whether it's real or whether it's not? What steps are you going to have in place? So I'm going to be curious to see what the training manual is going to look like.
I still say this is a tremendous commercial for the mortgage industry. Leverage up so much and get the biggest mortgage you can so that nobody wants to steal your house.
As sad as that sounds.
That's what I'm
we
thinking.
We need 95% financing with mortgage insurance.
With mortgage insurance from HMI, that would be incredible. And
That
it
would be
prevents title
awesome.
fraud. That's, I think, what we learned and take away. So at the end of the day, there's really not much, in all seriousness, there's nothing you can do to be proactive and prevent this, correct?
This is the sad part. You cannot freeze the title to your home like you can freeze your credit. And too many Americans do not take advantage of freezing their credit, and they should. Everyone should have all 3 bureaus frozen. It is free. If anyone tries to tell you that it's going to cost, then you're buying a product. You're not. You just go to Experian, to TransUnion, and to Equifax, and you do it. It is free. And you can either do it online or you can do it over the phone. But unfortunately,
even the apps, I think, do it.
Well, you got to be careful in the apps because they may try to charge you because you buying something you don't realize you're buying. And so, but unfortunately, there is absolutely nothing to be done before the fact because many people have had your same idea. Oh, I'll just put a lien against my house. That'll take care of it. But you can't, in Texas, you can't do that. And so I would really invite you to get Michael Schwartz or you did not get the pleasure to meet him the day that we did it, but he's with Priority Settlement Group, and he can, I mean, just go over that and explain kind of why you can't put yourself into debt to yourself, much better than I can. But that's just not a solution. That's why Robin was thinking, well, maybe we do HELOC, because HELOC's that's I don't actually have a debt yet. So I don't know the legality of that, so I'd have to defer. But unfortunately, there is, even if you buy the title lock, there's nothing you're buying that you can't do yourself. I would highly encourage that you check your deed transfers or your tax records at least every 6 to 9 months, just to make sure everything's okay. And I also think you should pull your free credit report every month just to make sure you're okay. A lot of people don't realize, or they think the old school, which was you could only pull your free credit report every 12 months. That's not true anymore. Since 2020, you are allowed to pull your free credit report with all three bureaus every 7 days. And so you can look at your credit as often as you want. You can even encourage your borrowers to pull their free credit reports and bring them with them to loan applications so that you can look at them before you even pull your credit
And
report.
to be clear, they don't give you a score.
Absolutely not.
So that's what
This
you
is
pay for. So
strictly,
just for those out there that thinking I'm going to pull my own credit report, you're getting the trade lines, you're getting the
yes,
history, the
yes.
information, but you're not getting the score.
And that
And by the
is,
way, even if you did get a score, it's not the same as a mortgage score. Just talking from the mortgage guy.
and it's probably a Vantage score,
It's
not a FICO score.
correct. So
Yes.
just to be clear, okay. We'll air this on Halloween because this is just scary, scary stuff, and I'm done with this episode because it's really kind of depressing, and we may not actually put this on the internet.
Well,
We're just going to promote a bunch of bad guys to go steal homes, is what we're doing
well,
here.
I'm
So there's
hoping
that.
not. What I really wanted to come away with is that Texas has been a leader when it comes to trigger leads. We were the first state to pass a trigger lead action. We were also one of the first states to pass the foreign ownership prohibition, and now we are one of the first states to actually put in place a method for recovery of your home when it does get stolen, because they recognize how bad it is and what is happening. And sadly, it is happening to your parents, to my parents, to her parents. It is happening to our elderly, because and they sometimes they will get them to sign it telling them it's something else, and they just don't realize what they've signed.
Well, the good news is my parents are old, cynical, and cranky, so they won't sign anything. So there you go. That's
You
the
know,
benefit
I
there.
would like to think that same thing about
Love
mine,
you,
but
Mom.
every once in a while, I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" You know, "What are you doing?" You know, because I'm afraid that they've gotten some scammer on the phone, and that sounds really good, because they do.
All right, we're done with part one,
Okay.
which is super scary.
Okay.
We will come back with Juliana with power training. We'll be right back for part two, which we're going to talk about how all the foreign countries are going to take over all our water.
More so our land and our timber.
Coming soon. All right, because I figured we're close.